Well, my husband's out catching a rooster right now that's crowing.
Catching a rooster? What is he?
I was in his office and there's like this rooster that keeps crowing and you can hear it like in his office. So he's out there. So you don't hear the background noise of a rooster.
I don't think I hear it. He must have gotten it by now, I hope.
I think so, yeah.
Where do you guys live?
We live in Ormond Beach.
Ormond Beach?
But we have we have some land and like horses and animals and stuff.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Horses. How much property do you guys have up there?
4 acres.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's some good running property.
Yeah. I do a lot of running in the woods, so it's fun.
Oh, that's got to be so peaceful. Just leave your phone at home and head out the door. Oh, my God.
It's good. Yes.
Well, we just wanted to get into where we wanted to speak to you mostly about running, but a lot about, just how you got into it and, kind of inspire people to, with your story and the experiences that you had.
Right. Good.
So we'll kind of jump right into it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
So do you want me to just keep the video on, or I was trying to set it somewhere where like the sound, does the sound sound okay?
No, sounds
yeah,
perfect.
good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. If you want to keep the video on, that's fine. But if it's too much, we could always just do the audio.
Okay. Yeah. I think video is good because you can see,
Perfect. No, it's good. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So we wanted to talk about, first how you got into ultra running and your, where did you first hear about this crazy sport that people are, it's starting to become a little bit of a thing now, getting some traction with just people all over the country and all over the world, I think, too.
Right, exactly. Well, I first started running with just a simple 5K, and that kind of helped me get my foot in the door, I feel like. Do you want me to, I don't know, you're like starting now?
Oh yeah, we've been recording, but we can always,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's good. We'll do some splicing and stuff later, but it's usually going to be, everything is going to stay how it is,
Okay, gotcha. Okay, sorry. Well, I first started initially running just for weight loss, and whenever you think of like wanting to lose weight, you think of running, and I was really struggling with a lot when I first started running, just like emotionally. I had lost my father in 2004, and I gained a lot of weight after his death, and really turned to food to try to like comfort a lot of the pain that I was dealing with that. So I knew that I had to make a change. My husband and I, we had 2 young little girls, and I just was not happy in my own skin, and it was just a miserable feeling. Yeah. So I first ran a 5K in 2013 and finished dead last in my age group. And it was just kind of something that I was more so doing just to like complete. And I set a goal at that race to come back the following year and run the half marathon that was also offered there. So it gave me like a full year to train, and that was my goal. And for that duration of that year, I just didn't really wholeheartedly commit to it and didn't run like I was supposed to, and didn't give it my all. So I was really battling with it, and I was just not living a healthy life. So the race was coming up in 2014, the half marathon, and I just thought, like, what if I just go out there and still try to do it? And I ran that half marathon, and it was just like a really hard experience for me, but just doing it was just so empowering.
Oh, wow.
So I like at that time in 2014, like I thought I'd like conquered the world, and like 13 miles was a huge distance to me.
It is. I mean, it is for starting runners. Yeah, that's a big
definitely. Deal. And I was totally untrained for that race. Like I'd never ran over 6 miles before that. So
wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I just continued running and just kept it a positive experience, and decided to sign up for my first ultra, and that was in 2017. So it was 50 miles. So in between that time, I had ran a marathon. So I jumped from, a marathon being my longest distance to a 50 miler. And when in regards to ultra running, I remember signing up for that race and getting there, and it was just like a totally different vibe than, previous races. Yeah, it was just like really chill and really cool. And wasn't a whole lot of like hype to it, but I also liked that in the same sense because it was just super laid back. And running that race really like got me hooked on ultra running. And I just love the difference from ultra running compared to like a lot of the marathon or half marathon distances, because it's just like so laid back, and it's more so about the journey and the experience. And I love, like, I think that ultra running, like, honestly, when I'm out there, I'm one of the youngest people. Like, a lot of people are like a lot older than me, and I love that, because I think that it's so inspiring to see, like, there's people that are like, you know, 30, 40 years older than me that are finishing before I do. And I think that that's awesome.
That's crazy how, like, these older, like, I'm not gonna say, but older, like, people in their 50s and 60s are still able to do this, and it's just mind-boggling to me.
It is. I was running a 50K out in the woods like last year, and I remember at the, like, very last mile, this man that was just like, oh, you know, a lot older, and he passed me, and I was just like, oh my, like, I loved it, you know?
Yeah, it gives you inspiration for when you get older. You're like, I can't quit now, because look at this guy, man.
I know. I know. It's really cool. So ultra running, you know, it's like, once you get started on ultra running, I feel like it's so just like addicting, and it's just a whole nother world. And I love running 5Ks and half marathons now, but I prefer the longer distances, and it's just, I love it.
You really get to find out what you're made of in those long distance runs. You really, do some soul searching there.
Exactly.
For the minimal amount that we've done, we ended up doing an unofficial, like a 50K up in Tallahassee, just me and my cousin. It was pretty much just me and him. We're like, can we even do this? I mean, we had never ran a marathon before that, and we're like, yeah, let's give it a shot. And we did it, and it was, again, like, it feels like you just conquered the world, and then you meet people like yourself and people that have finished 100 miles or 200 miles, and you're like, I haven't even scratched the surface, you know?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
And there's always more that you can do. Like, it's like never ending. And I love that about running and ultra running, because you're able to push yourself. Like, what are you capable of? And, like, I don't have anything against, like, obviously one day there might come a day when I don't finish a race, but I love that, like, you know, that pressure to just keep going, and just the fight and the struggle. And I, you know, feel powerful in that moment. So it's really cool.
So going back to what you said about like doing when you completed your first marathon, and how that was a completely different vibe, do you feel that, like, the marathons are a little bit more competitive?
Definitely, yes.
Everybody's looking for that time, that split second, you know, to get over the finish. Did you start off as more, when you lost that initial 80 pounds, and did you start off when you were doing marathons and such? Were you trying to have that competitive mindset ever, or do you just for the sake of running?
Right. Well, I feel like just for me, I tried really hard not to, like, push myself and not set too many extreme goals, because I knew that if I did that, I wasn't likely to stick with it. So for me, I just had to, like, look at it from a different mindset, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my best, but I'm also not going to push myself to where I'm, you know, it's a miserable experience and I'm going to quit. So I just tried to, like, combine the healthy eating with the running and just do my best. And it was really cool how, like, with a healthier diet and consistent running, how everything just kind of came together, and naturally I just improved. So I would set, like, little goals, like, okay, you know, I want to run a 5K under 25 minutes. So once I hit that, I was like, okay, now I want to hit 24. So it's just slow little goals that I made, where it wasn't like, okay, by this date, I want to do this, you know, and I just tried really hard not to be hard on myself. And if I was dead last or anything like that, like, I wasn't like, okay, I'm a loser, I'm not good at this, I'm gonna quit. Like, I continued fighting, and it was really cool. So going back to that initial, you know, like, half marathon that I ran, so in 2013 or 14, I'm sorry, I ran that and was dead last, and then I fought so hard that year and came back in 2015 and was first place. So
oh my God, congrats.
So that was like such an awesome year for me, just seeing what I was capable of and what I can do when I wholeheartedly commit to something. Like, it's amazing, and everyone has the power to do that. You know, like, so many people, they're like, oh, I can't do it, but it's just, you have to fight for it. And at the same time, it doesn't have to be a miserable fight. You know, it's just being consistent and working towards a goal. And that's what I love about running. Like, it's something anyone can do, you know, if you're capable of, you know, and we have this opportunity, and you can do it anywhere, and you just have to make the initiative to do it. So
And I find myself whenever I'm in a rut, and everybody gets those internal like demons or
Yeah.
just negativity in your head sometimes, whether it's coming from external sources or even yourself. I
Right.
find like running just puts me back in my place. It puts me
Definitely.
back in that groove. It gets right back on the path, and everything starts falling into place again. Whether I'm doing, I'm not doing as well in school, and then I start getting back in the gym, or I start running again. Everything starts, I start getting more disciplined and buckling down and getting what
Definitely.
needs to be done. Yeah.
Right. I feel like it resets your body and your mind and,
Yes.
sets you up for success. And I feel like running helped me focus on a healthier diet because I wasn't like, okay, I want to go eat a number one value meal from McDonald's and then go run. Like I didn't want to think of like gross food inside my body when I was training and, working towards things. So
you start craving like the healthy stuff because you
right.
need it. Yeah.
Right. And knowing that like your food is fuel. It's not like, it's something that's there to help you and power you. So
Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like myself a little slice of cake every now and then, but everything's in moderation. And,
exactly.
I understand that and I wanted to go into diet with you if you want to jump into that a little bit, how you made those big changes.
Right.
And you have a very strict diet now. You set up meal plans, no junk food, no alcohol, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't drink. I haven't drank for probably like 4 years now. I feel like I was, when I would drink, I would be like, okay, give me the Cheetos, like
it makes everything else tempting.
Yeah. And I just feel like I'm a better person not drinking. So I don't do it at all. But I don't eat fast food. I haven't eaten that in years, like no cookies or, candy. For me, I just try to like, everyone's different, obviously, but for me, I just do better just focusing on like, just committing to something. But I have things maybe that certain people wouldn't eat, like, I eat granola and Greek yogurt and fruit. And to me, that's like my candy. And
that's your pleasure food. You're like,
yeah.
No, I hear you. I mean, I do like myself some yogurt and granola every now and
then. Yeah. So I think everyone's different, but I just try, to focus on, I'm not like crazy strict. I didn't eat like a low carb diet or anything like that. I just try to focus on one ingredient, whole foods, as much as I can, but I'm not crazy rigid.
And when you were
speaking of diet, there's been some like controversy between carb loading before a race. I was curious on what your pre-race like routine is, diet wise.
Right. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes before races, and I'll eat things like bagels. I love bagels and cream cheese. Like that's something that I normally don't eat, but I like to eat before, like, the night before or the morning of a race.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I try not to get too crazy off of what I normally eat. I know a lot of people eat like pasta before big races, but I try to I don't want to like upset my stomach during or right before. So I try to keep a consistent diet, but I'll eat things like, bread and stuff that I wouldn't eat as much of before.
Yeah.
And that's mostly for like water retention. So you could hold in that water as you're running.
Right. And just having, it gives you more energy and strength and makes you feel fuller. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So when you started initially losing the weight, like that was your mindset. You didn't have like an idea of a specific diet. You were just like, okay, this is what's healthy. And I mean, you knew what was healthy and what wasn't. And so you cut out all the crap. Yeah.
Exactly. And like, honestly, like I tried for so long trying to lose weight, years and years and years. And even went to my doctor and I was like, I think something's wrong with me. Like I can't lose weight. And he's like, well, you need to focus more on your diet. And to me at that time, I really thought like, drinking a Slim Fast shake or a Fiber One bar, or like, I was really turning to like fake food, honestly, and looking at just the calorie count. I was really concerned with like how much calories were in something, but I didn't actually take the time to educate myself as far as like nutrition, like what nutritional benefits am I getting from this? Once I started focusing on that, I really realized like the difference between like man-made food and food made naturally, like the only ingredient in a sweet potato is a sweet potato. The only ingredient in a banana is a banana, it's like when you really break it down and start looking at just everything that's so unnecessary in the foods that we're eating today, it just is a little eye-opening.
Yeah, additives, preservatives, they're processed. I mean,
Right.
that's not what our body wants. It's looking at that
No.
like, what the heck is this? I can't process this.
Right.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
just being more aware, you know, and there's so many people that I know of that come to me and they're like, you know, I'm on this diet or that diet, I'm cutting this out. And it's like your body, like for me, my body, like once you're eating a well-rounded diet, like you're gonna not crave certain things more than others. Like it's just having a little bit of everything that's natural and good for you. So
I agree with that, and I definitely like I've definitely done that in my life. But recently, I tried the carnivore diet, and I just tried to like figure out what is best for me. And what but everybody's different, and I did enjoy that carnivore diet, but it's not something that I could sustain for sure.
Right.
I was thinking about trying vegetarian too, just to see what my body enjoys and what my body doesn't. But if you're eating healthy in general, I believe that your body's going to be a lot more in tune with you know, everything that's going on in your life.
Right. Well, it's funny you bring that up because I cut out meat for about 4 months just to
really?
because I've, you know, heard a lot of ultra runners doing that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to do it as a challenge and see, you know, like what the benefits were for me. And I enjoyed it, and it was a lot easier for me than I thought it would be.
Wow.
But yeah, I've recently started back. I love meat, and I just did it as like kind of an experiment kind of thing. But I feel like for me, it's easier as far as like meal prepping, like, okay, this is my meat, my vegetable, my carb, you know, it's like I can meal prep a lot easier having, you know, a meat, a vegetable, and things like that.
Saves a lot more money than a big slice of steak or something like that, or some chicken breast. You know, you have all your and you can practically. I mean, if people have the time and effort, they could practically grow this stuff in their backyard. I mean, you know, so you could save a heck of a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But I have, you know, started eating it again, and I don't know. I just like to challenge myself and try different things. So it's kind of fun.
It's fun to play around with that stuff and see what your body's works with optimally. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. So it's cool. So, I don't know, just with ultra running, I love that, you know, you continue the fight, and it's just really, really fun.
So are these lessons that you kind of pass down to your daughters? I know your husband started doing triathlons and such. Yes,
he lost like 50 pounds, maybe. I don't know where he's at right now currently, but and he just kind of like, you know, with my influence, I feel like, as far as what I was cooking and running, and he's ran 2 ultra marathons now, which is really awesome.
Oh, good for him, man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He's not as crazy into it as me, but he enjoys it.
It's still good. And that's partly why we started this podcast, because we want to show people that, like, you don't have to go insane with it. Just get out there, start running, do something, you know?
Exactly. And even with me, like, I'm not putting in a ton of miles every single day, because it is very time consuming. And when you're working and you have kids and a family, like, it's a lot. So I found that with ultra running, that was a little more challenging than when I was like training and racing 5Ks, because, you know, you can go out and bust out a mile in 7 something minutes and you're, you know, so it is a lot more of a time commitment, but I love it.
So what do you do for a living? I forgot to ask.
I'm a teacher. I've been teaching the past 2 years, but this year I'm kind of transitioning into doing more health and fitness related. I want to get into like coaching. So I got my personal trainer certification with and weight loss specialist certification. And I'm working on a nutrition course right now. So and I'm substitute teaching. So I'm able to have a little more flexibility now, which is nice. Yeah,
it gives you the ability to go to school and learn, and while you're still making money. Yeah.
Right.
That's
exactly.
good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's good.
Do you do any other exercises outside of running? Are you into weightlifting a little bit, yoga, anything?
I lift weights like a little bit. I just have like 10 and 15 pound hand weights, and I just do basic exercises with that. And I barrel race on my horse. I compete in like rodeos.
You compete in barrel race? My cousin did that for a while. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Oh my God.
I love it. My daughters do that as well. So
Oh, wow.
That and running are like our two favorite things to do, but primarily running is my main focus.
Yeah.
So,
how long have you been barrel racing for?
since I was like 7.
Oh, since you were 7?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. So you're a lot more experienced, I'm sure, in that. But yeah,
Yeah.
you found another love.
Yes. Definitely.
That's awesome. It's definitely good to have, especially running is a good hobby and
Right.
other hobbies, because especially in this crazy world that we live in nowadays, you need something to get your mind off of either politics or the coronavirus or you need something to keep you going, keep you motivated.
Right.
Positivity.
Exactly. And going back to that and what you said, that was a huge part for me in running, was listening to positive things. That was like, helping me mentally. Like I would love to listen to positive messages or music. Like I can't listen to just like the normal top 20 hit music that's in the world right now. Like, because there's just like, it's not inspiring. It's not uplifting. They would just say gross things that just didn't help me. And just really trying to, I would like plan things on my playlist that I knew that were uplifting and I would be excited to listen to, and that would help me. And I just feel like listening to something in your mind that's encouraging and also running at the same time, like that's just like everything that you need and so powerful. So
do you have any specific songs that really give you through that extra mile? I have a specific one, like certain classic rock songs or like some alternatives. Is there like one in your head that like you need that extra push that gets you through that?
Yeah, I love I don't know if you've heard of NF. He's like a Christian rap artist, but he's like, I love like every song he comes out with, I love, and it's just like really inspiring to me. But I like Lecrae and Toby Mac and just like uplifting Christian artists.
Oh, that's awesome. You're Christian?
Yes.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Me and my cousin are Catholic. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it's definitely, religion's another big part too, and keeping positivity. You need something that gives you good morals. You need something that gives you structure. It doesn't have to be religion, but
just something positive.
Yes, yeah, and everybody has their own thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it almost seems like just as you keep a good physical diet, you got to keep that good mental diet too as well.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's
Goes hand
so
in hand.
important. Yeah. And just surrounding yourself and being mindful of, what you're feeding your mind with. Like, we watch the news, but we try to limit that. And just even like just the negativity, it's just easy to just like, I always try to like stop myself and check myself and be like, okay, what am I filling my mind with? Like, is it uplifting? Is it good? And like, honestly, when I was losing weight, I didn't even have a Facebook page. I did, but I just only had like 5 friends, and I only followed people that were like what I was aspiring to be like, and pages, so I was just very, very selective on what I filled my mind with. And it was just really cool to just like, spend that time just focusing on myself and positive things. And then I created a Facebook page, and, and it's like, okay, here I am now, which was like really cool.
Yeah.
So just like making the journey about myself and not so much like posting everything like, okay, I lost 5 pounds or I lost 10 pounds. It's just like actually doing it and then, being where I was at, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Seeing the results at the end. You're not looking for that gratification. It's for you,
Right.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the same mentality about like tattoos. Like if I don't have a tattoo, but if I were to get one, I'm not going to get like a giant sleeve or anything like that. It's going to be a personal thing for me.
Right.
Right. And that's how I kind of think about these challenges or weight loss, or it needs to be about you.
Right. And that's going to be more long-term, to help you going to stick with it. So
definitely.
Yes.
So going back to your family and how do you instill these these philosophical ideas that you've learned from living this healthy mindset onto your daughters? Like, how do you tell them or like convey this to them?
Right. Well, I think running has been really powerful for them because it's taught them just to like, continue fighting and to not give up, and to learn like balance. Like when they first started running, they were in the stroller, not running. When I was running, I was pushing them in a double stroller, which was really cool. So they were able to see like so many people that, you know, I'd be running a half marathon pushing them, and people were so nice, so encouraging. And they'd be like, your mom's amazing. Good job, girls. Like they've just like, for them, it's all that they know. They've just been surrounded by this lifestyle and positivity, which I'm so thankful for. So they don't even remember like, you know, our unhealthy life. So that's really cool. And I just feel like, you know, them seeing that, being in the stroller, and then now running races of their own, it's just been so uplifting and powerful. And when they did start running, they, you know, they would start out like a 5K, like super fast, and would fizzle. And I'm like, listen, you have to pace yourself. And it was something that they had to learn, but it was cool now that they're actually seeing their, you know, if they have take control and, you know, don't go out too fast, and that they're winning. And they're actually, both my girls, they're competing in the Daytona running series.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, the past 3 years, they've both placed in their age division. So if they do it for 2 more years in place, then they'll be both the youngest kids to get the Hall of Fame and siblings, which is really cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited.
They're going to be the next elite ultra runners by the time they're our age. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is crazy. Wow.
Yes. So I'm happy for them.
Yes, that's very nice. It's a great message that you're sending your kids. Yeah.
And with that, with running, like we have not pushed them, you know, we let them do it at their own pace. And, you know, it is kind of hard because they're close in age, so they kind of compete a little bit, but it's just, it's good life skills, I feel like, for them.
It's a healthy rivalry between the two of them, I'm sure. And I'm sure later on in life, if they continue with this running and that, they're going to hold each other accountable to live this kind of lifestyle, like me and my cousin do. Like when we were running our first ultra, there was moments where, like, you know, you wanted to give up and this and that.
Totally.
You uplift each other, and that's a good community to have.
Right. You're exactly right. And talking about, like, you know, what you just said with the hard moments of ultra running, I love that with ultra running. I feel like when I'm running a race, like, you know, one moment you'll be like, oh, you know, my knee kind of hurts. And then you just kind of power through and you keep going. And then you're like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my knee doesn't hurt. Or you have a blister that's like killing you. And then you just power through. So it's just really cool what you're capable of and what you can overcome when you just keep moving forward.
And I'd say most people tap out pretty quick as soon as that first initial pain comes. And that's not the way you should be living your life, because then you'll never persevere. You'll never, you know, get through adversity.
Right. You got to keep fighting.
Yes. Yeah. That's the big lesson I think that we've learned from this sport specifically. I mean, we've done other sports outside of this. We just, when we were in high school, we did football. My cousin and I did weightlifting. And I think this is really the most inspiring sport that I've had, you know.
Right. And it brings people, like, you know, of all ages together. And I love that with running too. It's something that, like, anyone can participate in. Like, not anyone can be like, okay, I want to go barrel race on a horse. There's a lot that goes to that. Or I want to sign up and play on a football team. Like, that isn't open to everyone. And running is, you know, anyone can go sign up and become like an amazing athlete, you know, like for yourself, like, not saying that you have to win to become, anyone can be an athlete. And I love that it's just something of all ages, the whole family can be a part of.
I actually recently, my mom just started running, and I mean, she went this morning, and she's got it down from a 20-minute mile down to a 12-minute mile in like 2 months. So I was like, I'm proud of her. I'm really happy to see that. That's
really cool.
And Nick's mom, she's my aunt, has always been pretty athletic. I mean, yeah, she's had her fluctuate.
Like the speed walking.
But your mom's always been like she's always been pretty active.
Pretty active, yeah.
Yeah.
Those speed walkers will get you. They're good.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I'm like leapfrogging those speed walkers, like.
Speaking of speed walking, so when me and Giovanni did our first ultra marathon, we saw a lot of people walking, running, doing this like walk or run technique. And we didn't really know what was like the thought process behind that. Do you have any experience with that?
Yes, I do. I know some people, they do, it's called like interval running. So they'll set their watches where they'll like run for 2 minutes and then walk for 20 or whatever they personally want to be doing. So they set it for that. And the pro to that is if you stick with it, you'll probably reach like your goal time, finish time, because it's, you know, preset. As long as you follow that plan, then you're going to reach that, whatever your distance is at this X amount of time. So I know a lot of people that are successful with that. I did try it in the beginning part of Miami 100 that I ran last year. I was running with a good friend and she was doing that. So I kind of just like stuck with her for a little while, because that particular race had like no course markers. You had to follow like a directional card that was given to you.
Oh, yes, yes.
Wait, is this the one that Louis Coco does?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
we were going to do a podcast with him, but we haven't reached out to him since. But we'll have to do that. Yeah, that should be
you need to. Shout out to Louis. He's awesome. So that race, it has like no aid stations. There's water provided at the checkpoints, which is nice. But you're in Miami, so you have access to tons of stores, and you know, you're pretty much fine without it. But so I was sticking with her just for the sake of like directional purposes too, and she's a good friend. So I was doing what she was doing in like maybe the first 20 miles or so. But I found that for me, like it was kind of getting, personally, you know, different strokes for different folks, but for me it was getting annoying. Like I was exerting so much energy, you know, like running, and then I would stop to walk, which was a nice little break, but then like getting back up running again after 20 seconds, I felt like was exhausting me more. Like I'm just better off sticking to a nice steady pace and just running for however long I can run.
Yes.
And of course, when you get to like mile 60, 70, 80, you're going to start fizzling. Obviously your pace, you know, for me at least, my pace gets a little slower if I'm running that entire 70 miles.
Yeah.
So I just, when I get to that point, I just walk and run as much as I can. But I have found that in ultra running, like for me, walking is honestly more painful in a way. Like I guess because it's different muscles. So it's all like easier to just run, even though if you're running like turtle pace, like
yeah.
And it's interesting being out there when you think that you're walking, and I try to, you know, what I look at is speed walking, which probably isn't that fast realistically after all those miles. But it's just like I see people that are running a really slow pace, and if I'm walking and watching them, they're passing me out of eyesight. Like they're making obviously a lot more progress at that slow pace versus me just attempting to speed walk. So I just try to keep it like controlled, easy running, you know.
That consistency usually probably ends up being the best route, but I guess it's all depending on how you're feeling in the race, you know, what you can endure so far.
Yeah, I know. I think that Lewis did interval running for the last Daytona 100, and he like killed it. So he would be interesting to talk to. Yeah. So just different strokes for different folks, and whatever works for you.
Yeah.
I just like my mind telling me what to do versus like my hearing a watch beeping. Like,
yeah,
I don't like
that. Too structured. Yeah, it's too structured. Yeah. And I hear you. When we did the skydive ultra that Eric Friedman puts on, and we ended up doing that. That's up in Clewiston, and there's a part of it that's like just all because you're running around the sugarcane fields. Wow. And there's a part that's all just sugar sand. And so that was probably the most grueling part. So that's where most of the time we'd be doing our little speed walking or walking. Right. Yeah. Right. Just our knees couldn't take it around that seventh loop, you know? Yeah.
There's only so much you can do, you know, as far as like walking. And that's why I think a lot of people, it's like with ultra running, they think that, you know, you are running the whole time. And obviously that's the goal, but it's okay in ultra running. Like a lot of people are walking, and that's common. And there's obviously nothing wrong with that because you're pushing your body to such limits. So it's like, you know, like sometimes maybe like I'll film a video and people are like, oh my gosh, you're walking? And it's like, yeah, you can walk.
It's okay.
I was finishing Daytona 100. I was like mile 85 and I stopped into a gas station and was talking to the person that was working there. And I looked like a crazy person. I was like, sorry, I'm doing a race. And she's like, you're doing a race? Why are you in here? And I'm like, it's just such a different mindset with ultra running because you stop in stores, you stop and you sit on a curb or on a bench for a minute and just kind of reset your mind. Like that's okay.
Yes.
And that's just what I love. You know, you wouldn't do that in like a half marathon typically or a marathon. You know, it's just so like, oh, get to that finish. But
very time structured.
Exactly. Like every second counts, every, step counts in a race, like a 5K. So it's just more chill and laid back. And I love, when they do have aid stations, just stopping and talking to people, and, it's just fun. Meeting people along the way. Like, it's really cool.
Half the fun with this sport is the community behind it, because everybody's so relaxed, it's amazing. Right. I mean, you do have those competitive people out there, but even them, they're pretty relaxed too.
Exactly. I remember in like some Facebook group, someone posted like not that long ago, they were like, oh, I just went to the Gate River run with like however many thousands of people were there and didn't make a single friend. And then they were like, oh, I went to this, it was a 6 and 12 hour race, I think. And they were like, there was only like, 150 people there, and I left with 10 new friends, so it's like, that was kind of cool to read that and just see like, you can be surrounded by so many people, and which is awesome. I love both, atmospheres, but it's just like you said, like that small community. And it's just like, stopping and talking to people and hearing their stories while you're on this journey and this course. It's just like, it gives you the strength to continue on, and hearing everyone has a story, and it's just really cool.
I love the fact that like half the time while people are running during those races, they're usually talking to someone anyway. Yes. So it's like, it keeps your mind busy, Yeah. I'll be running with friends of mine that aren't they're not long distance runners, and they'll be like, why are you talking so much? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm used to But with Nicholas, I mean, when I run with him, we have long conversations, and then sometimes you plateau and you quiet, you get in your head for a little bit, and then you go back to conversation. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And it's fun too, like, like leapfrogging people. Like, you'll see someone 1 minute, and then, you pass them and they're behind you. And then next thing you know, they're coming up from behind, and you see them again. So it's like really cool. The people that you see along the way, you're not all running, you're all running your own race, but you're, making that progress together, which is cool. And I like that it isn't as competitive, like it's just everyone's there to help everyone. And it's really cool. And the whole crewing aspect. I don't know if you guys have done any races where you have like a crew with you before. Have you?
Not yet.
We did our first 50, and we're planning on doing the next 100, which we're thinking about the Keys 100.
Good.
That sounds pretty good. But yeah, we'll probably for sure need a crew.
Yeah. And that's really fun too. That's a whole nother aspect of it all. Like when for the Keys, like you'll see so many people that are other people's crew vehicles, and they're stopping and they're asking if you're okay and giving you support and encouragement. And it's just like super, super cool.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Going into a 100-mile race, what would be your biggest tip or advice for people like jumping up maybe from a 50-miler to a 100-miler?
Definitely. I would just say it's a really hard experience, obviously, but it's just like, it's so rewarding and so amazing. And just realizing that, you're going to have those really, really dark moments, and there's so many different factors that go into 100. Like, you start when the sun is rising, and then you see the sun rise, you see the sunset, and you see the sunrise again, typically.
That's weird.
It takes you, it's like crazy. But so many people told me, and it's so true, like, like running, make that journey through the night is so brutal, but when you see that sunrise that next day, it like gives you a newfound like strength and to help you continue on. So my first 100 that I did was the Daytona 100, and I did that in 2018, and it was really cool because it kind of travels along the coast of Florida, but it runs past the city that we live in at mile 80.
Oh, cool.
So that was really cool because my friends were able to come out along the course and see me. But it was hard, obviously, but I finished it, and I came back. I ran it last year, and I ran it 3 hours faster, which was really cool.
Wow.
It was it was neat being in the same spots that I was in, comparing it to the year before, and seeing like, okay, it's still, the sun hasn't risen yet, and I'm this far, much further than I was. So
that's gotta be pretty inspiring. You're just like, oh, you can see the progression as you get better year by year by year.
Definitely. And that's something I suggest to people too, is signing up for the same races, because obviously every year might not be better than the last, but it's just like, you have that experience, and just trying to set those little time goals and going out there is really cool. So I did I've done 3 100s total, 2 of the Daytona 100s, and then Miami. And Miami was like really, really hard for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I did.
What was the hardest part about it? What made it so difficult?
Well, I ran that race uncrewed. My family was like at the hotel.
Oh my.
Yeah, like Miami is like crazy. It's I love it, but it was like for me it was just unrealistic for Kevin to be in the car with our 2 young daughters and trying to crew me, and with all the traffic it was just you honestly almost you can get places quicker running there than you can in a car, you know. I'm like, if I know you're safe at the hotel, like that gives me more peace of mind. And honestly, like I love having a crew, but a lot of times like I just like to just, if I'm able to do it on my own, I like to, because I'm not tempted to stop either and just be like, okay, I'm going to take a break, you know, and like hang out at the truck. Like it just makes me, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to knock this out and finish it. And
get this over with.
Yeah. But he did meet me. He met me a few times during the duration, but he wasn't there for me like every single mile, which I was great with that. I'm fine. But I wore these shorts that I've worn for other races and for the Daytona 100, but the heat was like so intense, and I'd worn these races for the Daytona, but the Daytona was in December, and it was late September for the Miami 100 last year, and I started chafing in between my legs, and it was like raw, like so bad, like so bad. So
you think it was the temperature that made the difference?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes, it was. It was really, really bad. And then just I got lost once, and that added more miles to my time. So you know, like, okay, I'm not just doing 100. I'm gonna have to do like a lot more than that.
Well, congratulations. Yeah,
it was really bad. But I finished it. I actually didn't finish, like I didn't get an official time because I was over the course limit time. But knowing that I finished, like I came to around 100 miles in Miami, and that's what I did. So I was still really proud of myself for doing it because of what I conquered. And 2 weekends ago, I went to Miami, and the 100 was canceled this year just due to like the curfew restrictions that are in Miami because of the virus. So they, Lewis was awesome enough to like, he bumped it down to a 50-mile course.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. Like, I was like kind of excited about it being a 50-mile distance, but I was running like the same part of the same route. And I remember like passing an overpass, and I was like, oh my gosh, because during the 100, I remember just laying, it was like maybe like 4:00 in the morning, and I was calling Kevin, and his phone didn't have service. And I was like in the grass under an overpass on a bridge, just like laying in the grass. I'm like, I can't do this. So it was like so funny running by there again and be like, oh my gosh, like it's crazy.
How you ended up finishing the 50?
Yeah, oh yeah, I finished the 50. I got second female.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah, so it was a nice little like redemption run compared to the 100-miler last year, because that was rough. So I wasn't laying in the grass for the 50-mile. I was laying in the grass for the 100-mile.
Oh, for the first one, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was brutal, but I did it.
What would you say was your favorite / most unique race that you've done?
Oh, I don't know.
Tough question. They're all so great.
They are. I really liked the Daytona 100 that I ran last year, just because like so many people met me along the way, and it was like, if I was to have planned it, like I couldn't have planned it more perfect, because I just had like friends when I needed them most, and my family and my aunt, and that was just really special to me, just having them out there, you know, encouraging me.
That support
and having
group.
Yes, definitely. And my family's super supportive and loving and encouraging, and Kevin would be there to crew me, you know, for every race if I needed him to.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's good to have.
But well, yeah, and I think the most special race to me just is that first half marathon that I ran. I ran that in memory of my father, who passed away. So that was like really powerful and special.
You were 18 when he had passed away, I think I read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a young age. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Oh my gosh. Yeah. He worked at the speed track?
He did, yes.
What did he do there?
He was the track operations manager, and there was a crash on the racetrack, and he was picking up debris, and there was a driver that was in the pits that the like the people that were watching the course, like didn't know. So the guy came out of pit road and he was trying to, it was under caution. So he was trying to catch up with the main pack. They're called the spotters. The spotters realized that he was in the pits working there, changing a tire or something. I don't know. Yeah. And so the car came around and was trying to accelerate to catch up with the people that were on the pack of cars that were under caution. And he just hit my father. It's like,
oh geez. Oh,
yeah, it was really
terrible.
bad.
But and you did that first half marathon dedicated. I'm sure that was a lot of motivation to get through that. He's probably looking down on you, very proud.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. It's hard, even after all these years, but it's been good to like have something else positive to focus on to help.
You've definitely made a huge change in your life, and I know he's looking down. He's happy with what he sees.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. But also, what kind of specific equipment do you take, like for these big 100s? Like, is there anything like your favorite foods that you'll take with you, or maybe certain gear that you need to have?
Definitely, that's a good question. So that's like a huge part of running a successful 100-mile race. Or 50-mile or 50K is just being set up for success. And that's something that I've learned a lot through doing all of these races. And with ultra running, like a lot of times you can make something called like drop bags. So you can have bags set and waiting for you at the aid station. So when you start the race, you'll give them however many drop bags that you have, that they have for aid stations, and then they'll leave them. So they're like waiting on the course for you.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, it's really cool. So like for a Daytona 100, for instance, there's like, I think like 10 aid stations or there's an aid station like every 10 miles. So, I'll label this, okay, this is what I'm going to pack for aid station 1. And I get like on Amazon, there's like just cheap little drawstring backpacks, and I'll buy those and then label them with a Sharpie marker, like, okay, aid station 1. And then I'll get a big gallon Ziploc bag and pack everything that I need inside of it for that, for each individual aid station. So I'll know like, okay, maybe aid station number 5, I'm going to want to change of socks and different things that I need. So I've kind of got that down to, I feel like an art, knowing what I need at what mile, which is really cool. And that's also allows me to like run these races more so uncrewed, because I really don't need much. As long as I have water and drop bags, I'm pretty self-sufficient, because I carry my Nathan hydration backpack with me. So I really have everything that I need. But things that I love, like I love goo products, like the gels.
Oh, those are good. The goos are my favorite.
Yes, I love goo. And I've learned how to I think my stomach has become conditioned to handling that.
Yeah.
So I love the gels, and I love the chews that they have. I don't know if you've tried those before.
The chews.
They're almost like gummies.
No, I don't think I've ever tried that. Nick, do you know what she's talking about?
I may have seen them before. I've never tried them.
No, wow. I'll have to try that. Oh, that sounds fun.
They're awesome. Yeah, it's like candy. Yeah, and I'll pack things like maybe like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll freeze it the night before so it's not too gross and soggy. I'll just throw out my drop bags. I love salty potato chips. I never eat those.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I look forward to running races just the regular salty Lay's potato chips. Pretzels, peanut butter filled pretzels. The stuff like that, salty food. I learned from my first 100, the first time I packed a lot of food that was sweet, and I learned that's I can't have just all goos or gels. I need something to balance that salty and sweet.
Yes.
Because you get to the point where nothing sounds good. So, but I feel like for the last few that I've done, I've really found that happy balance and happy place to where, okay, I'm not, it doesn't make me sick or nauseous or anything.
And you know exactly what well, not exactly, but you knew usually what you want on these races and what you're going to need. So you got it down to kind of like a science is what,
Right. Exactly. And I also take, capsules. I've started taking the Hammer Nutrition, the anti-fatigue pills.
Oh,
they're
wow.
capsules. Yeah. I would look into those. Someone gave them to me during Miami 100, and I have since realized how many ultra runners take those. So it's things like that. I take a BCAA capsule and another goo. It's like electrolyte capsule. So those are really cool because you're like giving yourself, those nutrition that you need, but it's like you're not taking it just in tons of fluids, which can become a little tricky if you're tired and make you feel like sloshing or bogged down or whatever. So so every hour I'll look at my watch and be like, okay, I'm going to take these anti-fatigue, and I really think they help with like heavy legs and feeling tired. So wow, pretty cool.
Do you usually stick to that time regimen for what you're eating, or is it kind of like however I'm feeling?
Yeah, I try to eat every hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because like you don't want to get so far gone where it's like when you're running, like time passes quickly. It seems like, for me at least, when I'm doing these ultras, I'm like, oh my god, it's already another hour that's passed. So I just try to like just always eat something, because you don't want to be so far gone that you're like where you get sick and then it's too late.
Yes. Yeah. You want to try to keep your diet to a little bit of a time regimen. Yeah. Because even if you're not feeling it, you're going to need it. So.
Right. Yeah. I try to, eating's like important,
Do you have a specific stretching routine that you do, or do you try to keep yourself pretty limber? Like, I know I have a pretty pressing like hip issues while I'm running, so I try to do a lot of stretching, or I'm trying to get better at it.
Right. I know, it's so important. I just do basic stretches. I have a bulging disc and mild scoliosis.
Oh, wow.
So I have back pain, but for some reason, I don't know, it's really weird. When I run, my back feels great. So that's a good thing. But I just do basic, normal stretches. I don't have anything specific, like I don't do like the rolling. I don't know. I'm sure I could do better at that.
Yeah.
Stretches.
And I'm sure as like you progress, and there's maybe a few, have you ever had any real bad injuries from this? Like from ultra running?
No, I haven't.
Cross fingers.
Yes, like certain knee pain, but I'll take like ice it in the evenings when I lay down, just to be like help it. But thankfully, no, nothing super crazy. Yeah. So, and I think that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying recently, I know Nicholas has had a recent knee injury, and he kind of got over that with a little bit of stretching, and now I'm starting to have some knee problems. So that's why I've been trying to get better at stretching, and it seems to be helping.
Yeah, and there's so many stretches that you can find just Googling on on YouTube, just that are beneficial and safe. So that's good.
What were you gonna say earlier?
I don't remember. I'm trying to think.
Okay. This happens to us all the time. I forget things.
I know. No. Oh, I was gonna say that I think that for me, I don't like overtrain. Like, I'm not like killing my body. Yes. I do things safely, I feel like. So it's like I'm not going out and running 20 miles every day. Like, there's days where I don't run, or I just am running a few miles. So I feel like I'm kind of kind to my body. Yeah. And eating healthy helps as well, just to help recover properly. So
you give it the proper rest it needs.
Right.
Your body needs to keep moving.
Yeah. Like I'll take like a week off after a big race.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. So try to do things right.
Well, also, let me see, we had something specific. Oh, also you stated that you heard from a sermon that I read on your website that our mind is our defense and our weapon. Could you want to elaborate on that? I think I kind of understand what you mean, but just to elaborate on that.
Yeah, like our mind is very powerful and gives us, strength that we need. And I just feel like with ultra running, it's so mental. Like just, your mind is almost as strong as, stronger than your body, and gives you the strength that you need to overcome. And that's what I love about ultra running, how it's just both mentally and physical.
Yeah, you gotta get through that pain to be able to reach that high again, or that.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. Yeah.
And the sense of accomplishment at the end is just like what makes it all worth it.
Yes. Yeah.
Knowing that you accomplished it.
As I've started this, in running, I've developed a more maybe self-worth in myself, or confidence, and it just gives me something to look forward to every day, and knowing that I'm treating my body right and doing the proper necessary things to make sure I'm being the best version of me.
Exactly. And something that I always think of, like when I think of running, like when I was like drinking, like I was never like into drinking until like I was after my dad and everything, like that was obviously really hard for me. So I feel like that's where a lot of that came from.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, for me, when I was drinking, I was like, it was like numbing the pain, and I was happy in that moment. But it's like, after you stop drinking, then it's like, you know, you have a headache or you feel sick. And it's like, so it's like you were happy in that moment, but then really felt like crap afterwards. Well, for me, it's like with running, like, you know, like obviously it's not total torture when I'm running, but it's like, it's hard in the moment when I'm doing it. But then afterwards, just that sense of like accomplishment and pride and feeling so happy and healthy afterwards is like what makes it all worth it for me. So it's almost like the opposite, you know, like something that's hard and challenging and then just feeling so good afterwards. It's just like such a better feeling.
I have the same idea about alcohol a little bit too. I mean, to each your own. And I still drink, but I try to do obviously a lot less. And,
Right.
And especially just doing all these grueling races and running every day. You can't, you know, be waking up with a hangover and expect to go run 20 miles.
Definitely.
You know, it's not going to work that way.
Right.
But I mean, some people do it. You know, some people to each their own. But I think you have to deal through the pain, just like. And that's how you overcome it. Just like running, you would have to deal through that pain when you're at mile 25, 26, and you're going to 50, or you're going 50 to 80, and you're going to have those peaks and valleys. And once you get to that, through that valley, and you get to that peak, you're going to realize that you overcome something that you really didn't think that you could.
Right. You're exactly right. It's awesome.
It's a sport that gives you a lot of lessons, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know. Definitely.
And are you someone that when you first started running, is that something that when you started getting good at it, you started really loving it? Or was it always just kind of like, okay, keep going, you know, kind of thing?
Yeah, I definitely love it. I love how there's just so many different aspects to it, and so much that goes into it, and so much that you can accomplish. Like, it's really never ending. Like, how far can you go? You know, like I've done 100, but it's like now, like, okay, could I do 200? Like
this is still crazy to me. 100 is still crazy to me.
I know. It's crazy though. Like, and you know, like, so, okay, I've done 100. Well, can I do it now? My goal is like, I want to do it under 24 hours in a day, you know? So it's like, I love that. Just like setting, you can always set different goals. Like, okay, I want to accomplish it under this time or under this average pace, or there's just so much that you can do.
Whether it's time or distance or just you know, accomplishing your own personal battle, you know?
Right. And every race is different, you know, like different terrain and different, things. So you just showing yourself a little grace with everything and not making it hard on yourself. Like I did a race in Tennessee last summer, and it was in the mountains, and it was like totally different. I wasn't used to that, you know, like mountain running, and it was really cool to see how many people were really amazing at it. So it's like, okay, I didn't obviously do great half marathon time. I don't remember what it was, like 2:10 or something. Yeah. But it's like, you know, you just have to be like, okay, different environment, different footing, different everything. So it's like just taking each race individually for what it is. And you can't just be like, okay, just because it's this distance, I need to get this time. Like you need to, okay, is it hot? Is the ground, just like you were saying, the sugar sand, like there's so much that goes into it. Yeah. And just, you know, taking into account the environment and the temperature, and there's so much that can go wrong, and so many different elements that affect distance, you know, like your pace. So you can't expect every race to be better than the last, or, you know, because there's just a lot that goes.
It's a case by case basis. Every race, every person, every race, a lot of variables. Yeah.
Exactly.
And what was the elevation like in Tennessee? Do you remember?
Oh my God. I don't even know. It was
it's just ridiculous.
I felt like I was gonna fall off the side of a mountain at one point. Like,
oh my God. Nicholas ended up. If you want to tell her about the canyon race you did in Georgia, because we did. Wow.
Yeah, there's a canyon. It's called Providence Canyon State Park, maybe something like that. And it's in Georgia, and I drove up there in the morning from Tallahassee. It's about an hour, 2 hours away. But it was pretty cool. They call it the mini Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very fun.
That was definitely a lot of different elevation than our first ultra. Yeah. I would like to try that one.
And that's another thing, what you guys just mentioned, is like, there's so, like, obviously it's a weird year this year, but it's like, there's so many places you can go and see. And that's obviously, like, it makes it so fun. Like, just like these little mini vacations you can take and see places that you've never seen before. Like, I would not, like, we wouldn't have gone to Miami 2 weeks ago just to go Miami, but because there was a race, we went down there and we had a really fun weekend together as a family. So it's just like, you know, seeing different sites, and it's really cool.
I enjoy like going to different places and running. I don't know, it feels like a sense of accomplishment. Like I ran in this state, or I actually recently drove out with my friend because he was moving out to University of Las Vegas to go to school there.
Wow.
So I drove. We did a road trip from West Palm to Vegas.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Yeah, it was just cool, like seeing the countryside and all that. But every place we stopped, I would, you know, get up in the morning and I do my run. That would be my sightseeing time, you know.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah. So it's like a runcation. I've heard.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Super fun. That's cool.
Well, just to.
Do you have any? Do you have any races that you plan on? I know you just did the one in Miami, but do you have any? Do you have planned?
Kevin and I are doing a relay. We've never done a relay together, but we're planning on doing one in November. It's a 50-mile relay, so it's kind of nice because we'll be able to have the girls with us because we'll alternate.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's also another thing that's been hard. You know, it's hard for us both to run races together because we don't have childcare. So we all, you know, often alternate races and help each other out with that. We're not like forcing them to do ultras just yet. I'm just kidding. Our kids.
But you're definitely planting those seeds for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. So we're going to do that, which will be fun because we can crew each other and take turns running. And then I'm going to do Daytona 100 again in December. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. You guys should check that one out too. There's a 50K and a 50-mile distance too.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be fun to come out there and see you. Yeah, cool.
And it's like doing that race is really cool too after doing Miami because I loved Miami, but it's just like, this is just a straight shot right down the coast. So it's like certain things like, you know, like with you were saying, like different elements of races, like this one's a good one. So you can just kind of just run.
Yeah.
That's a good one to run fast if you can.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that for sure. Yeah. Oh man,
it's fun. What about you guys?
For sure. Well, we were thinking about doing a 62 miler, but with up in Tallahassee just to get our first. What would that be? 100K? Yeah, 100K.
Yeah.
So, but we're thinking we might need a little bit more training time, and school is getting in the way and stuff. So we might take a little break from initiating races until maybe Keys 100. But for sure, Keys 100 next May is something that I want to do.
Good.
Yeah, it gives us a lot of time to train and get ready for it, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. I did the 50K for the last one that they had. It was really fun.
Oh, in the Keys?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that must have been beautiful. Oh my God. Any tips?
Really it's hot. But that's a great one, like I said, for having crews, and that's a really great community with that race because, you know, like I was saying, there's other people's crew members along the course there that are like so helpful and encouraging, and that's a good one. It's hot. It's really hot, but that's a great race. Yeah, I did that one, and that race started in waves. So like the 50K started in waves. So you didn't know, like, you know, I didn't know where I was at in the course as far as like place wise. And I got to the finish and was like really happy to finish. And I checked on the online results and I got second overall female for that one. So that was huge for me. Yeah, it was like really exciting because it was just like totally unexpected. I was just like, he was a shock. I was like, oh my God.
I was happy to finish, but second's not bad either.
A lot of times in races, I'll have an idea of where I'm at, like place wise, but that was super cool. Like, great surprise.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this, Rebecca. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll let you get back to the rest of your day.
Well, I'm excited for you. Keep me posted.
We will. Hopefully we'll see it. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. Hopefully we'll do the Daytona 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it in mind. And that's what, too, just like a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't think I'm ready. Like, just do it. You know, like my best friend, she recently completed a 46-mile ultra, and she had never ran over, I think it was like 15 miles.
Whoa.
But she just,
Wow.
I know, it was pretty amazing. She did it in memory of her father, or her brother, who sadly just passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it was like really, really hard for her, but like she went out there and she like killed it. And I was just so proud of her just for doing it. So it's like a lot of times you think that, you know, you're not capable of doing something, but just going out there and just trying, you'll surprise yourself. So
well, thank you very much, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You all.
It's really fun. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.